Hi Virgo, it's Jen with Lady Tarot 911. Let's look at February for you. Moving on. Virgo, the North Node is, the North and South Node have shifted, and the South Node is in your sign in February. This month is going to be a little overwhelming, maybe overthinking when it comes to communication for you. And I guess you'll need to try and employ logic where it's possible and kind of find a middle ground or like a compromising. That'll be key this month for you. Let's look at the message. Now that makes sense with the North and South Node being in the signs of Pisces and Virgo, because you're not comfortable for the most part with a lot of emotionality. You like things precise and just precision based and blueprint and pragmatic. And that being said, to be a little more chaotic in the emotions is just not where you find your greatest source of safety. Just know that that's the energy that's just forcing you to look a little more into your emotions and balancing the emotions with that the normal energy that you're used to, with your sign being Virgo. You got to balance that out with the more Piscean energy, which is just a little more challenging for Virgos. It's like trying to get an Aries to feel like a Cancer. Good luck with that. All right, so tell me about Virgo for February. What's the energy? Looks like, hopefully you guys can see. I need to find a space which is good where you guys can see. These two are kind of on the side. I know that I need to take 3 cards for you. So the first one is, about balancing, what we were just talking about. Blessing in disguise. So something will be taking place in February that might not be what you expected, might not be on, I was talking about that blueprint that you're comfortable with. This is an 8, private, no entry, bound for boundaries. Again, you are one who likes those boundaries, who likes the precision and it to be on a plan and a schematic, right? Going from a 4 to an 8. I'm hearing doubling down. And then, baby, I'm a star. What are you doing, Virgo? Nice. Interesting. There's not really, there is. There's a coordination of colors. Usually I split them like this, or I even split like this, but rarely have I split them like this. And that's the way that I feel that I need to, because of the color scheme here. And I don't know what you'd call that, like a rose gold. You are getting into something will happen in February that you might not see as the greatest blessing. However, it is connecting you with the fact that you are going to be standing out. And I tell you this because there's a star here and a star and the stars here. And so these 2 cards connect, right? And there might have been some people around you who were acting fake, or that you essentially ended up demasking, taking the mask off of, or this could be you, where you decided, you know what, I'm going to live my true purpose, I'm going to live my true destiny. Talking about North and South Node. North Node is our destiny, and you're going to be spotlighted for this, and it'll be like a huge jump from the 4 to the 9, right? You'll start out with whatever's happening here happening, and then it's going to move. It's going to be a truth, because somebody's going to say a truth, or you're going to say your truth, and maybe of where you want your destiny, where you see your path for your destiny. But this is it's going to be a big change from this to this. And then it's going to like leapfrog you into this bound for boundaries, which is putting up your own boundaries. Because of this information, or demasking somebody or a situation, or finding out truths, it's going to help you put up those boundaries, which that's the first step. And then the next step is you're going to be reaching those dreams, the desires. You're going to be starting on a path in that direction, because this goes from an 8 to a 9. So there's a leapfrog from 4 to 8, but then you have to set these boundaries up before you can move on to these desires and wishes that are either that you're going to start working towards, or that are actually going to be coming to you. The universe is telling you that this is what's going to be offered. Let's look at your archetype energy for the month. Wow, that just flew out. Friend, we'll take it. Mediator, peacemaker, sidekick, generous, loyal, harmonious, gives good advice, hero, perceptive. Funny that this says hero, and I'll tell you why. Perceptive, approachable, kind-hearted, and trust. I knew through just channeling what this read was going to be about. And it has a lot to do with what's happening inside or outside the soul cycles or the spirituality realm. This is more in the collective, and with everything that's been happening with all the natural disasters and the plane crashes, which my heart and my prayers and thoughts go out to all of those on both ends. The fires, everything that's happening is happening for a reason, and we know that. There's a lot of people who are stepping up into building tragic moments or tragedies or sense of loss. People who are being affected, they're helping build each other up in communities in California, in DC, in Pennsylvania. And I was thinking today about there's a couple things. Why is it that we as a human race, what's the psychology behind us wanting to have the answers? Because what I notice is as soon as a tragedy happens, the first question that everybody asks is why? Who's to blame? Fingers start pointing. There is a lack of information because somebody doesn't want to jump to conclusions. However, the collective or the public wants answers. And I was thinking, why does it even matter? When these tragedies happen, what is it about us? The tragedy has already happened. And yes, we have to find if there is some type of catalyst or instigator. But what is it about the human race that finds comfort only when there are answers? And so I studied that a little bit, and it mentioned that the reason is because we innately have a desire within ourselves to have control. And when there's uncertainty or unknowns and we look for answers and public officials or government don't have those answers right away, it keeps us in that uncertainty, in that darkness, in that unknown, and we are pushed to rely on our faith. But it's at those moments that when we're relying on our faith, that we come together and we help each other and we support each other. It's those times of uncertainty. Name off all the tragedies in the world, and you'd be here forever counting them. 9/11 in itself is one tragedy where everybody came together. Charities, shelters open, GoFundMe's happen, donations happen, people have benefit concerts, you name it, and everybody comes together in those times of unknown, uncertainty, and doubt. And so these tragic moments, and I've talked about it on another video, and I'm not going to go on too much longer about it, but in these tragic events, it's the tower moments and the in between the tower moment and it happened already, and the answers of how to rebuild, that there's that gap where we learn our most compassion and where we find it in ourselves to not think about ourselves anymore and look outside ourselves. And that's why these things keep happening, is it brings us closer to God and to our spirituality, to universe, to divine, whatever you want to call it. But it opens up the friend, right? That goes right along with this. And I thought to name this even before I started. I was like, there's something about the Virgo read that's talking about the hero inside. And the truth is that we all have the hero within us. We all want to be able to show the hero that's in us, and not for accolades, but just to feel like we're a part of the greater good, that we are a part of the solution, that we are a part of helping, that we have the strength and the know-how to pull others up. And I love that this card came out and it just shot out, but it's a 7, which comes before the 8 and the 9, and it's talking about a friend. There is a change up potentially in a friendship, or by unmasking, or I said demasking. I don't know if is that a word? Demasking? I'll have to look that up. Unmasking is probably the word, but there's a couple maybe somebody is getting information in regards to a couple people in their family, a couple business partners, an actual couple, and you can see she's holding both those masks. With that, maybe there's an evaluation of who the true friends have been, or family members, or those around you, maybe in a work situation, that have been there for you and that have been one to look outside themselves, to be loyal, to be there in the hard times and not just in the easy times. But this is the energy that you're in. This could also be like somebody took advantage of the good friend that you were, and now it's time for you to set boundaries, and in doing so brings you closer to who you are, and you're able to identify closer those who are going to be there for you, those who are actually going to have your back. Sorry, that was a really long explanation, but I wanted to explain it's funny that hero came out in that, or even friend, because that's exactly what I was thinking about today in the midst of all of these really tragic events. What does this have to do with Virgo? Tell me about their February energy. Give me an idea, more specific, what messages you want me to give Virgo for February. Happiness, stress, missing you. Could be a friend who's missing you. There is communication as far as news, information, messages, knowledge. I think that's what is spoken. Something, maybe somebody around you, since you've been able, I really take this as masks. You have been able to unmask a couple people, or you've been able to speak up. I just feel like you're taking off with those masks. You're not gonna deal with it anymore. You unmasked them. You saw who they really truly were, and this could have been a couple people, some friends who, or this could also be you. This could be this. I'm getting this like this. This could be you who you haven't been happy. This trails right along with all the rest of the readings in some aspect, but this could be you, that you finally taken off the different masks that you wear. I'm getting, Virgo, that potentially you have these different masks for different people. If this is you, if this isn't you, then connect it how it will be connected. It could be your person or a situation, but it's masked according to the wants, needs, desires, likes, happiness of another. And by wearing these different masks and having to put on these different masks, like different hats. There was another read that had to do with a bunch of hats. Go back, you should watch all the reads because they connect somehow in your story. If not now, they have in the past, or they will predictably in the future, or to a specific part of your chart, wherever Virgo might lie in your chart. The masks that you've had to continue to wear for different people has really stressed your life out, has really brought an unfulfilling unhappiness, or the person that is attached to you, this is what they're feeling, and you're missing true friendship, or they are missing you, or you're missing yourself when it comes to balancing out your own energy. You're missing the friend, maybe the friends that you had around you who were loyal, or the ones that you could trust and count on, or this is a friend who you knew you were to a situation, but the situation was not conducive to that, and you've had to communicate, right? All this blue, this is a lot about talking, a lot about using your throat chakra. Blue is the color of the throat chakra, but maybe there's an absence of a friend who you overlooked, or you were the friend that somebody else overlooked, but there's somebody who's missing somebody else, and the friendship and the loyalty and the love and the kindness and the compassion, right? In that between the tragedy, and something could have happened over here, or else I wouldn't be bringing this story up. I wouldn't have channeled that today. I wouldn't have been thinking about that today. But usually I'm starting to identify where, when I start to hear a song, or I start to see people talk about the same things, and see actions, or see people's see like newscasts or broadcasts, and people are talking about certain things, and then somebody else talks about it, and I'm able to start putting things together, even, I guess better than I was before, to identify what the message needs to be. It means that the universe is talking to me, God's talking to me, saying, this is the direction, this is the message that Virgo needs, and it has to do with the inner hero, and being that friend, being that inner superhero part of you. But in doing so, it's going to push you into having to block off those that you masked for, because obviously they didn't approve, or they expected expectations of who you were, and they required you to wear these masks. And this wasn't truly you, Virgo. This was not who you were or either your person. And unmasking now and actually speaking up and putting up these boundaries brings you to being able to really show that you are that star. You are that, you have value, and you're learning this in February. You're learning these lessons about importance and the balance between, you can be a friend, but you do also have to have your boundaries. Everybody does. Everybody has to have their space, their boundaries, their ability to speak up, but their ability to, their vulnerability to reach out when they need to. Now, what's at the bottom of this that's challenging this? Traditional values. This tells me that potentially for the longest time, I'm getting, you didn't speak up. You allowed, you chose to continue to not be who you were, or your person is this way. And it's because of the good old, what I always talk about, that I am just so, I think that values and morals are extremely important, or else I wouldn't be here vibrating high, trying to help others. And I do this to be there for others, to help give that education, to help teach, to help give direction, and tell people you've been here. It's kind of like that, the information from the public wanting information about things they don't understand, about tragedies or accidents or the way that the world's going. I'm here to try and help you, just offer what I've learned about it and the experiences I've had, and through my channeling and spiritual gifts that I've been given. And in doing so for the last 4 or 5 years, you will hear me say more than once, I'm just super anti the way we used to do it. Oh, you have to do it this way, because that's not breaking those ancestral chains. We obviously live in a world that is so much different than the world that our parents, our grandparents, great grandparents, etc. lived in. And you have to adjust with the times. So the things that you learned, or the ways that you do things, has to evolve and adjust and flow as well. You can't have that. Everything's energy, everything's connected, per Steve's Love Tarot. And that being is the reason why also learning from our parents, the way we do things has to evolve and change. If everything else evolves and changes, which it does, it has to do that too. This is that you or somebody on your side or attached to your energy has been stuck in, well, that's not the way that everybody tells me I'm supposed to do it, or that wasn't the way I was raised, that wasn't my childhood download. And there is a turning. So this reminds me of, I think this is like one of those, maybe, okay, hold on, I'm getting potentially you or your person has, well, okay, that connects, that goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of what's been channeled, tapping into those emotions, which you don't like to do so much. You're not so hot about the emotions, Virgo. And this to me is like the submarine. It's like a submarine window or one of the hatches. And I just felt like you're having to turn the hatch. It doesn't have that, well, I can't see behind her head, but the wheel that you have to turn, and you have to depressurize the cabin with the pressure of the water, or if you're in space, whatever. Or this is just a window, but this reminds me of a submarine. And with the blue, it also reminds me of emotion, even though that this is throat chakra, which tells me that this is about vulnerability. And this is about something that you don't necessarily feel most comfortable in, but you're taking off the mask, Virgo, or whoever, if this doesn't resonate with you right now, could be your person. They're taking off that mask, and they are stepping into a world of more of the emotion. I do think that this is you, though. I do. I do think that this is you, because of the fact that we were talking about in the beginning, the balance between the emotions, and that being a little chaotic for you in the month of February. If you hit this energy in February, let me remind you, but it's going to be a vulnerable space for you that is going to teach you so much about breaking chains of how things have to be done. And it doesn't even have to be culturally. It can just be the way that you have thought it had to be done. That you're a Virgo and everything has to be done by the book, and that's all there is to it. That creates resistance, and that you're going to have to let go of. And everybody is having to let go of something their entire life, or many things their entire life, because that's the part of allowing the flow and learning faith, learning compassion. It's that void area between tragedy and catastrophe And the rebuild, it's the learning section within there, the learning to be compassionate, the learning to help one another, the learning to have faith, the learning to trust universe, God, spirituality, going outside that box. And right now that's been a block for you. Now let's look at, I'm going to pull some traditional tarot. Let's get a better idea of what this could be about. What is this about for Virgo? And like being specific, what is this about? What are they having to put boundaries up about in regards to in the month of February? Or in this February energy, whenever they hit it. Maybe just getting into a different social group as well is going to help you feel, not that you need that validation outside yourself, but maybe, or learning from others helps bring that validation within yourself, because then you're able to actually see that you truly are valuable and you don't have to wear a mask. You're truly valuable as you are. You don't have to be wearing the mask to balance out so people aren't inconvenienced. It's up to everybody to create their own balance, create their own. If everybody flows, if everybody were to flow with whatever happens, we wouldn't be here. There wouldn't be these discussions of how to do anything, because everybody would just kind of be taking on their own accountability and responsibility and being in control of their own lives, versus trying to put on masks and control everybody else. But tell me what this is. Empress? Oh, King of Pentacles is about stability. I feel like this is supposed to go in the middle. The World and curiosity. Ooh, obsession. Hang on just a second. Manifesting. Yeah, look at the blue again, right? This is your natural energy, Virgo. This is the self-loving, the nurturance that comes with emotions and with vulnerability, right? And here's 3 again on the Empress card. There's 3, and there's the 2 masks and you, right? But it's going to, I still feel like this is a leapfrog. Even though this is still the progression, 7, 8, 9, this goes from 3 to 2. But this is telling me that, oh, okay, hold on. These go together and these go with this here. Within this moment, within this gap and void area that you're going to be learning between, I mentioned, the unmasking and the boundaries being put up, and a lot of communication about this, or news about this, or a change up. Within this, there's going to be a lot of self-love and compassion and understanding of maybe where the thinking part of it has become a little skewed in the times that we live in. But what's happening, and here's a 3 as well, these 2, right? These 2 are connected. And this is telling me that you're achieving a stability within who you are and within who you want to be. And it's creating the division of, like we've talked about, old and new, earth consciousness. It's creating a division within friendships. It's creating a division within the old toxic ways of either thinking, behaviors, people, and the new way of the lessons within the void. And what you're doing is you're closing up this cycle, you're closing up this gap, this cycle over here, right? Of the codependency and the being able to manifest, right? You've had trouble before. You haven't had the willpower to speak up. You haven't had, this is a 1. 3 people, I believe, could be involved in this scenario. I also think that maybe even up to 7 people could be involved in regards to whatever the situation is. It could be a work environment, but you are learning your value, and you're learning it within this gap, within this void of time. And there is a creating of stability that you are finding, going from this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is why I said 7 people could be involved, right? Well, you've got 3 here, 3 here, and 1 here, right? You are finding your value, and 3 people could be involved in this. You're finding your value within you, and learning how to not be codependent, right? This devil energy, this toxic energy, and you're having to put boundaries up to that. You're communicating your, so perfect. Hold on. I just noticed this too. You're having to put your boundaries up to the other 6 people, right? And I know that this is a 6 card, and I just talked about 6 people. You're the 7th person. You're also within finding your value. You're also closing the cycle, and there's 3 and 3, right? 6, and here's you. But you've been in the blocked position. You've been in the not fully upright yet. But this is that moment. This is that void and gap that becomes upright, and you discover and become this star. But it is in this unmasking, seeing the situation for what it is, closing up the cycle. As you're moving towards, you're going to be moving the spiritual card, right? The values upright. You've got to learn some lessons, and it is within this situation that helps you learn that. Then within this void, right, where you're learning self-value, this Empress energy, these 2 are going to be turned upright. And when that happens, whether it be in February or whenever you hit this, when that happens is when you're going to discover that through communication here, there's a lot of communication that's happening in when you hit this energy. And then all the blues, when that happens, that is going to be the time when you discover your self-value. You're going to say, hey, no, I need to set up my boundaries. This is what I'm comfortable with. This is what I will allow in my life. And when that happens, or the person, I do believe this is you, that when that happens is when you will start socializing in a different way than you used to in this way, right? Your friend groups could be different. The way you interact with your family, the way, your job, if you, move jobs, it's going to be a different friend group for you. It's going to be a different networking or different, because you know your value. And you're gonna start getting an influx of others who are discovering these things about themselves too, and it's going to be in alignment with your soul group or your soul tribe, or those that are like you on your high vibrating, and you're going to align with that on your highest vibration. When this happens, it's going to be a dividing, if it's not already happening, a division between, and that's what's going to help you see this situation or these people clearer. It's going to be an unmasking. You're going to be learning your self-value and worth. And within that sector, when you do that, is going to allow you, so this is Virgo, right? If you need some help in identifying a blueprint, here it is. So this is first step. Second step, in doing so, you're going to be able to put up the 3rd step, which is boundaries. And the 4th step, that's where you're going to start discovering, you're going to keep those out that are toxic. You're going to keep that dividing line, right? I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't know I was going to say that, but there it is. The dividing line. And this person right here, that you're going to be a different person. And this could be over the first half of 2025 or whatever. It doesn't have to be like, oh, February, snap your fingers, like bewitched and you're something different. This does take time. Energy takes time to unfold. But you're going to actually be able to see that you're a different person, and you're going to become more independent, and this codependency part of you will start to die out. And she's really curious. She's like, whoa, have I been codependent? Is this something that I'm releasing those chains, right? Of the way we used to do it, or the cultural ties, or the way I used to think or behave. And I do this by speaking up about my needs and desires, and not just wearing these masks. You no longer have to wear the mask. You're becoming your own hero is what you're doing. And you're becoming your own, you have a friend in yourself. Well, I don't know why I went to Toy Story because of that. You have a friend in me, but the me is you. The hero is you. There's no more codependency that's needed. These 6 people potentially that were involved or had some influence on you living in this unhappy, unfulfilled world, life, home, whatever, you are discovering that you don't need them. All you need is yourself. This could be you and your higher self. This could be balancing out your feminine and your masculine, right? That's, you have a friend in me, and the me is you. That's a good title. Maybe I'll title it that. I don't know. You know what it is because you saw it. You've seen it already. But interesting. So that's interesting. I'm actually gonna just give you some advice and leave it there, because that's actually a beautiful read that shows you there are gonna be those moments. You are gonna unmasking either yourself or others is not gonna be It's not always, it's not fun to look at our shadow side or to look at issues that we need to correct, or where we went wrong or what we need to change. That's always hard to do, right? And setting boundaries. This is going to have to take courage, but you're learning a huge lesson. You're taking that big leap of faith. You're going from 4 to 7 right away in this energy, and it's just from learning the value of your Empress energy, you employing that, you being stoic, and learning that you do have a say in your life. You don't have to pretend to just make everybody happy. You're not in charge of their happiness. They're in charge of their happiness, just like you're in charge of yours. People who might be in your ear or giving you incorrect information, or if you got incorrect information growing up, I'm here to tell you, you're not responsible for everybody else's happiness. I don't care if your mom, your dad, your grandma, your best friend, your whatever, it doesn't matter. They are responsible for their own happiness once they reach an age where they can fend for themselves, where your children are grown. Obviously, we need to be there for those who cannot or don't have a voice. But at that point, it is up to them, because they've got to learn their lessons too. It is not your job to make others happy. It is their job. Let them do their job. Signs. You're putting together pieces of the puzzle from signs you are getting, and pay attention to the coincidences you experience. This is advice. So pay attention to the signs and synchronies, just like I did in this read about the numbers and the balancing and the number of people. It's the universe will always put everything in your life as signs and symbolic for different things, and you'll start to get that. You'll start to put things together easier. Relationships. This could be a business partnership, office love affair, and communication with coworkers are highlighted now. Make choices with extreme care. Within relationships, it's just saying the same thing that I just talked about how important transparent communication is, and expression. Oh, look at that. Look at the blue feather. We talked about blue. Expression. What was I saying? All the communication. You need work that lets you express your creative self. You could do well at writing, blogging, or a career in communication. Oh boy. And there you go. And there's another symbolic example for you in this read. Virgo, I'm going to leave it there because wrapped around to exactly what we started out talking about, which tells me that the universe and God support this read for me and for you. Have a great day. Bye.